This week's Parshat starts the story of Yosef, and one of the most central themes in the whole story of Yosef are dreams. There are 6 dreams in the story of Yosef, the first 2 being in this week's Parshat, the dreams that Yosef dreams, and he tells his brother and his father. At the end of this week's Parshat, we have the dreams of Avdei Paro, Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ofim. And in the beginning of next week's Parsha, we have the 2 dreams of Paro. And all these dreams play a very important part in the whole narrative of Yosef. In fact, all these dreams basically lead Yosef through his life and eventually take him to where he gets. And the question I want to try and deal with, and the issue I want to understand, is what exactly is the importance or the place of these dreams in the life of Yosef. Usually, I think most of the time we understand that these dreams are basically dreams of a prophetic nature, meaning Yosef dreams a certain thing, and basically Yosef's dreams come true. Afterwards, Avdei Paro, Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ofim dreams which also apparently come true, and eventually Paro's dreams, well, I'll actually get to that a bit later, but apparently also Paro's dreams are very pivotal in taking Yosef to where he gets, and they also apparently come true. I think usually when we see these dreams in the story of Yosef, we usually understand them of dreams of some type of prophetic nature. The problem is, though, that Chazal, especially in the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, in the 9th parak of Masechet Brachot, Chazal seem to take a very different approach to dreams in general. In fact, I wouldn't say this is just sort of everybody's opinion in the Gemara over there, but certainly a very central theme in the Gemara in Masechet Brachot regarding dreams is that Hakol Holech Achar Hapeh, that all dreams are basically follow their interpretation. In fact, the Gemara over there brings some interesting stories about rabbis who had dreams, and the rabbis who could afford to pay interpreters of dreams, they would go to them and they would get their dreams interpreted in a favorable way, and they would come true. And people who didn't pay for their dreams to be interpreted, and they got negative interpretations of the dreams, their dreams came true negatively. There's even a story in the Midrash. In fact, in the Parsha, in this week's Parsha, the Midrash brings a story of a woman who had a dream and goes to Rav Eliezer and tells Rav Eliezer that she dreamt in a dream that a beam in the roof of a house broke, and Rav Eliezer tells her that the dream means she's going to have a baby boy, which indeed she has. She has the dream a second time. She goes back to him the second time, and he interprets the dream in a similar way, and she has another child. The third time that she dreamt the same dream, she goes back to the Beit Midrash. Rabbi Eliezer is not there, and his Talmidim are there, and they ask her, what did you dream? And she says the same dream, and they interpreted that it was basically foreseeing a certain death, which indeed happened. And when Rabbi Eliezer heard about the story, or heard about what happened, he basically accused his students of killing someone because of the fact that they interpreted the dream in a negative way. And the question is, how do we sort of reconcile that approach to dreams of Chazal with the dreams of Yosef, which seem to be dreams of a very prophetic nature? This question was actually discussed quite extensively by many of the Mefarshim, not all of them, but some of the Mefarshim do go into this question. Maybe most famously on this particular issue is the Akedat Yitzchak. The Akedat Yitzchak, in his commentary on Bereshit, has a long essay on the issue of dreams, and he also tries to reconcile apparently what Chazal said about dreams with what seems to be going on with Yosef, and he basically divides dreams into different types of types. There's prophetic dreams, there are less prophetic dreams, and there are basically meaningless dreams and so on and so forth. And other Mefarshim took a similar sort of approach to this issue. Since this is a very short shiur, I just want to suggest maybe a completely different understanding of the dreams in the stories of Yosef, and at least how did Yosef understand the meaning of his dream, of his dreams and dreams in general. I think from the outset it seems pretty clear that at least the brothers and Yaakov doubted whether dreams were simply prophetic messages from Hashem. Because if they are, it's very difficult to understand how the brothers responded to Yosef's dreams. Because after Yosef tells them the first dream about the sheaves bowing down to each other, so they say to Yosef, "Hamalach timloch aleinu, hamashol timshol banu." Are you going to rule over us? Are you going to be a master over us? And so on and so forth. And if dreams are prophetic, so then why are the brothers being upset? I mean, it is what it is. Yosef apparently received some type of prophetic vision, and he's sharing the information with his brothers, and why should they be getting upset? Why don't they embrace apparently what Hashem has informed them of? And also Yaakov's response to Yosef's second dream, where he says, "Havo navo ani v'imcha v'achecha lishtachavot lecha arza," will me and your brothers and your mother bow down to you. And again, the same question on Yaakov. If Yosef is having a prophetic dream, why is he so taken back by what Yosef has told him? I mean, just accept the truth and the prophecy and embrace that reality. But we see that apparently the simple pshat is that the brothers and Yaakov were maybe suspicious of Yosef dreaming the thoughts that he was thinking in his head, meaning he had certain aspirations of power and ruling over, and he was basically dreaming the thoughts that he was thinking, and not necessarily those dreams meant anything about the future. And they were angry for Yosef for, in fact, dreaming what he dreamt, apparently. And yet we see that Yosef obviously took his dreams very, very seriously. In fact, the Ramban, answering the famous question as to why Yosef never got in touch with his family after he had the ability in Mitzrayim, after he became maybe in charge of Potiphar's house, or at least when he became the second to Paro in Mitzrayim, why didn't he contact his family? And the Ramban says because Yosef was on a mission to fulfill his dreams. He was trying to fulfill the dreams that his father and his brothers would bow down to him, and so on and so forth. And therefore, at least we see from Yosef's point of view, Yosef saw his dreams as a mission which he wanted to realize and to actualize. And he was basically prepared to take any measure in order to actualize those dreams. And I think this idea is basically possibly highlighted very much in the dreams of Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ofim. And I realize what I'm about to say might seem a bit of a conspiracy sort of motive, but nevertheless, I would like to suggest it. Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ofim dream, as we know, and Yosef interprets their dream basically foretelling the future as to what is going to happen to them in the next 3 days. And some of the Mefarshim actually ponder how Yosef actually understood that. How did he understood that from the dreams? How could he be so sure? And even though almost whenever Yosef wants to interpret a dream, he always attributes interpretation of dreams to Hashem, we never actually see that Hashem speaks to Yosef or appears to him, but never does the text ever say that Hashem spoke to Yosef and revealed anything to him. And so even though Yosef attributes it to Hashem, it seems to be, at least from the simple text, that Yosef is the one interpreting the dream. And I want to, maybe I'll just ask the rhetorical question. Is it not possible that Yosef wasn't interpreting the dreams, but in fact he was orchestrating what those dreams could do for him. How could he orchestrate the dreams of Sarah Mashkim and Sarofim into using them basically to further the realization of his own dreams? And is it possible that Yosef, who was basically in command of the prison, and if you look at the text, he actually approaches Sarah Mashkim and Sarofim and invites them to share their thoughts with him after seeing what they looked like, and apparently they looked very in a bit of a traumatic state. And he basically talks to them, and from what they say, he interprets their dreams. But is it not possible that he, in fact, used what they dream in order to facilitate his own release from prison? Is it not possible that he, hearing the dreams that they dreamed, maybe understood that Sarah Ofim was in fact guilty of some crime to Paro, and passed that information on to Paro, or at least to the head of the jail, in order to actually indict the Sarah Ofim? And on the other hand, obviously give information about Sarah Mashkim, that he's innocent, that he did not do anything bad to deserve a punishment from Paro, and pass that message on. It's not difficult to know that a lot of the Mefarshim point this out, that coming up with what's going to happen in 3 days, which was Paro's birthday, it was well known that was the day where Paro either sentenced people for a punishment or released people from jail. And my point being is that, is it not possible that Yosef used the dreams of Sarah Mashkim and Sarofim, in fact, to create a reality that would be conducive to him in order to get his release from prison? As we know, he says at the end of the Parshat, he asks Sarah Mashkim to mention him to Paro. And then basically, Yosef is using people's dreams, and literally what Chazal say, Hakol olech achar hapeh, everything goes according to the mouth, is in fact not just some type of mystical, psychological issue, but actually Yosef in this case is interpreting the dream and in fact orchestrating the outcome. And now, as difficult as that might seem to accept, I'll maybe just end on what I think is an interesting note. When in next week's Parsha, when Paro has his two dreams about the storks and the cows and so on and so forth, and Yosef is asked to interpret the dream, and Yosef gives an interpretation about the 7 years of plentiful and the 7 years of famine and so on and so forth. And immediately, because as we know, Yosef puts in the extra information that Paro should choose someone wise and clever in order to help Mitzrayim during the years of famine, and basically suggesting to Paro to appoint him for that job, because Hare, who is Chacham, who is wise as Yosef, the only person in fact interpreted Paro's dream. And again, we have to ask ourselves the question, how was Yosef sure that this was the meaning of the dream? How could he be sure that this could be the outcome of these dreams? In fact, if he might be taking a very big risk, because the 7 years of plentiful coming first wouldn't be such a surprise, because Mitzrayim is a plentiful country. It's not dependent on rain, it's dependent on the Nile. And indeed, Yosef orchestrates a very successful 7 years of gathering of the crops. But then there was a famine, as we know. And I'm not actually going to answer this question. I actually have an idea. But the question is, why was there a famine immediately after the 7 years? If I remember correctly, the Torah doesn't relate anything about a lack of rain, the fact that it didn't rain, but there was a famine, there was a lack of food. And we know that famine came to an abrupt end after 2 years. And if you look in the Psukim over there as to how we know that, it might come as a surprise, I think, how that famine came to an end. But in any case, getting back to the point, My point being is that Yosef, who was a very proactive character, in fact, his dreams were an expression of his thought, and his thought wasn't an expression of his dreams, but he dreamt the dreams of the things he was thinking about, and used every opportunity to take advantage of dreams, his own dreams, other people's dreams, in order to actually succeed in creating for himself his own destiny. I'll just end with one interesting insight that Chazal say. Chazal in the Gemara Masechet Brachot say that all dreams, hakol olech achar hapeh, everything goes according to the interpretation, what a person says about the dreams. And interesting enough, the source for that is the words of Sarah Mashkim to Paro at the beginning of next week's Parshat, because when Sarah Mashkim relates to Paro what happened to them in prison, he says the following thing. The pasuk goes like this. He says, "Vahi kasher patar lanu ken haya, oti heshiv al kani v'oto tala," which means, again, after Sarah Mashkim relates what happened, and they dreamt, and they told Yosef about the dreams, and Yosef interpreted the dreams. So then Sarah Mashkim says to Paro, "Vahi," and it came to be, "Kasher patar lanu ken haya," like he interpreted to us, so it was. Oti heshiv al kani v'oto tala, meaning I, oti, I. So usually we translate it like this: I was returned to my position, and he was hung. But that's not a direct translation of the text. That's not a direct translation of the grammar, because it doesn't say I was returned. It says oti heshiv. He returned me to my position, and he, in other words, in the Sarafim, oto tala, he hung. In other words, he returned me back to my position, reinstated me to my position, and he hung him. And obviously the question is, who's the he? In other words, who's the one that did all that? Most of the Mefarshim Aviyah, including Rashi, say that it's referring back to Paro. But obviously grammatically that's problematic, because Paro is not mentioned in the pasuk. Okay, in other words, Sarah Mashkim is talking about Yosef. It says, "Vayikasher patar lanu." Who patar lanu? Yosef patar lanu. And he reinstated him, and he hung him. And after this is the pasuk that Chazal quote as the source for everything goes according to the interpretation. And even the Ibn Ezra over here, even though he does say first that it's a reference to Paro, but he does mention that some people say that it was Yosef, which obviously is very interesting. Is it possible that Yosef, in fact, orchestrated the outcome in order to facilitate his own freedom from jail? Anyway, those are my thoughts on Yosef and his dreams and destiny. Good Shabbos.